And we're alive again.
And we're live again.
It's alive.
Again.
So
Theo broke his toe. Sorry, we're laughing
yeah.
because we started recording and then we realised that
we hadn't recorded.
We hadn't. Yes, we hadn't.
Listeners, you missed an amazing show. So this will be our B-roll.
Yeah.
This is secondary. So
I mean, the fact that we finally cracked who killed JFK. I mean, wow.
Yeah,
but,
we talked
that evidence now has to be redacted.
I spoke to you the other night on the phone charge. You said you've been ill for about a year.
I've had this thing on and off. Because I went to hospital last year with it, basically, but it kind of went away, and then it sort of come.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at your misfortune,
No,
Charles. I love that we do now. Just go straight into bowel. Bowel watch.
As I said, I think I've got a kidney infection. That's what I'm.
Oh, no.
I just do something. I mean, I know obviously now it's only go to the hospital if things are hanging off or turning green. But I still feel like.
But I went to A&E a couple of weeks, whenever it was. It's quite a while ago now. 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. A while ago, and they basically kind of mugged me off and were like, "Why are you here?" And I was just a bit sorry, and I did feel a bit bad because I said I was in one of the little cubicle things getting checked out by the doctor, and they had literally a doo in couple of cubicles down. He just ran off and he was like, "I got to go," and I was like, "Yeah, go, mate." I was like, Jesus Christ, and so I did feel a little bit bad because I was like, yeah, there's dudes in there dying, and I've got a bit of a tummy ache,
So, do you have any problem with your feet? Because a lot of the time, the liver and the kidney shows up on the feet.
Okay, well, I have done. I usually have.
What? Do you ever get itching underneath the foot?
Not itching, but
No?
just a sore feet and stuff. You know what I mean?
What are you laughing at, Kerem? Andrew? You laughing at the quality of this podcast?
I just feel like we need to do some sort of warning. The following podcast should not be listened to whilst eating.
Yeah. It's up to that point.
Okay, so let's get on to something a bit more pertinent. Yeah,
Theo broke his toe.
Okay, Theo broke his toe because the night goblins beat him up in his sleep. Okay, that's fine.
And Charles, we've got your medical history out of the way. Andrew, is there anything you want to?
Yeah. Any tests you want to talk about?
Share with the public.
Yeah.
Or he hasn't got anyone to share with the public? That's what he's saying.
Yeah, I know that's a problem. I've been out and about. I haven't been able to catch anything or do anything.
We are letting the side of the show down here, mate. This is the MD, Vialucci MD.
You need to go out there and get ill and then come back and talk about it.
Go outside and lick the pavement.
Exactly. Well, I'm drinking myself to death. That's my solution.
What have you got? What are you?
A scotch. I'm just taking advantage of the fact that we're from home. Obviously, once we're back in the studios, we'll be back on the little.
Well, we can add maybe add alcoholism onto this, as one of your
as our vices. Yeah, there we go. Alcoholism. Yeah. I'll add it to the show notes.
Tell the listeners it is 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's 12:20.
It is 12:20.
Give him that. Give him that.
Don't try and shame me.
It is a little bit past 12. Yeah.
What scotch do you drink?
This is Glenfiddich. So if they'd like to sponsor the show, I would be.
You never know. Might have the founder of Glenfiddich listening. Said if you want to send in a few bottles.
Yeah.
Andrew K. Fawn at PO Box.
PO Box.
Oh, listen.
We don't have our website. Do we have what is our update for people being able to interact with the show?
Oh yeah, so that's coming up in the all new Vialucci podcast. Once we're back in the studio, that's sort of ready to go. It's more or less done. So we've been doing the Vialucci website. It's got everything on there. They've got the contact us page. We're going to have the phone in section. We've got some other stuff coming up, but we'll wait to get back in the studio office. We should be in there 2 or 3 weeks.
Say.
You're giving the secrets away.
Yeah, the studio.
Yeah.
Right, talking of podcasting. No, not talking of podcasting. Do you remember when I said last week about the we was talking about racism in the 70s, the BBC shows?
Yeah. We're pertinent. We were on the
cutting edge.
I was quite impressed how on the money we were with that.
I know. Yeah. I don't mess around, mate.
No.
So they've Well,
got a
Netflix,
finger on the pulse there, yeah.
So they've pulled one of the shows down that I was talking about, the Fawlty Towers show, but not off Netflix. It's just
it's off UK TV.
Yeah, but not off Netflix, which I was surprised by.
Oh, okay. Didn't Netflix pull? What did they pull? They pulled "Come Fly with Me."
Little
didn't
Britain. Yeah, Come Fly with Me in Little Britain.
Right,
so actually, Fawlty Towers has been reinstated. It was, I believe, it was initially there was some confusion about whether it was the Germans episode, or whether it was I think the infamous episode we talked about with the Major using lots of racial slurs.
But no, it was that. That's the same show.
Oh, was that the same episode?
Yeah, but
was it the same episode?
Yeah. Shall I tell you what it was? Though it depends where you read the article, because what was happening is the ones that didn't want to see it being as racist were using a trick of words. They were saying the Germans episode with the racism, so you would think, oh, it's about that scene with the Germans, but it wasn't. Yeah, it's the scene within that where.
Yeah,
it's not even that bit when they're being xenophobic about the Germans. No. There's a whole other bit where it gets even worse. Yeah.
Yeah. So so Andrew and Charles would say where they use the N word, which I hate because it's basically building fascism when you start not saying words. But they use it about 6 or 7 times.
Dude, we'll get chucked off. We'll get chucked off platform. We'll get deplatformed if we start dropping N-bombs.
Well, you have to explain it. It's just I've noticed. I've watched it creep in where there's now this word is a letter word and that word's a letter word and that word's a letter word. And you go, okay, so I'm just telling you now. You let fascism in. We're now cutting out language. I'm just telling you now. But anyway, but to be polite, so one scene they use the N word about 6 or 7 times, needlessly more than it seems to be like they're ramming it down your throat. So this is a BBC show where they're using the N word again and again and again. So and
it's not funny. It's not particularly funny.
No, it seems like they keep saying it. You go, well, okay, we get the joke. Why you keep saying it?
But it's not even in the context of a joke. He's just saying it to say it, I feel. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even like he's saying a joke and it includes that. Like, he's just saying these racial slurs. And you're like, oh,
Yeah, and it's not the 50s. I mean, this was the BBC afternoon in like the 80s.
Yeah.
Right, but remember...
Because the only... Sorry. I was going to say, the only bit where it's meant to be funny is that or I think they're trying to do a joke, is the fact that the Major keeps saying one racial slur, and he's saying, he's talking about a time he corrected someone else, and you think, oh, he's going to say, you can't say the N-word, you have to say something that's appropriate, and then he just uses a different racial slur. And you go, okay, that's the joke. But like you say, it goes on for like, you're just like, okay, they're still
they're still riffing here. Yeah.
And by the way,
get out early, quick.
In most of these shows, there's sort of there are other racial slurs that are regular with the waiter. If he's not getting hit, they're calling him all sorts of names.
Yeah.
Again, the BBC. But remember what I said years ago on other shows where it was that weird racism where they're trying to be lefty, but they still sort of, it was always the thing of, oh, don't worry, they've seen me, black, but then you speak and, oh no, I'm from Birmingham, and they go, oh, it's okay, they're not really from Africa, and you go, no, that's racist. Like, what's wrong with being from Africa? Well, did you see what what's his name said? Basil Fawlty or whatever his name. What's his name?
John Cleese.
Do you mean the?
Yeah, you see what he said? Yeah,
he's come out and said.
Well, I've written it down, so I think.
He said a lot of weird, vaguely kind of offensive stuff.
The woman in Fawlty Towers, the maid, she's actually his wife. He wrote it with her.
Yeah, they were married at the time, Connie Booth. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, okay. And but anyway, so it's when he sort of opens his mouth to defend it, you suddenly realise, oh right, you are one of those like people that have just, as I've said to you before about some other stuff, you've just gone from, I think he was born in Somerset, went to uni at Cambridge, left there, went straight out into Monty Python, went to do that. So he's basically never had a job. He hasn't actually associated with normal people. So this is like, I thought what his defense of it highlights sort of the innate, I don't want to use the word, but how he actually sees the world. Right, so when they asked him about it, he said, quote, the Major, who is one of the people in this scene who's just swearing his mouth off.
Yeah.
The Major was an old-fashioned Sorry, say it again. So, quote, the Major was an old fossil left over from decades before. And you go, right, well, this is still the 80s on the BBC, right? But then he says, we were not supporting his views. We were making fun of them. If they can't see that, if people are too stupid to see that, then what can I say? Which is a little bit still like, well, then you can't just say what you want. You can't just throw out racial slurs everywhere and say, isn't it funny because we're making fun of him? Which you're not. You're not making fun of him.
Yeah, I didn't. In that particular instance, I didn't feel that the sort of subject of the joke was him. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like it was. It didn't feel like it was. The joke is that this guy's a fucking idiot and coming up with all these racial. And you're like,
yeah. If Basil Fawlty had been saying, look, you can't say that. You can't say that. No, oh my god.
Or you'd have just gone, geez, what the hell are you talking? You know what I mean? If he'd have confronted him and like you've gone, what are you going on about, you old bugger? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, shut up, mate. Like,
but then, this is another thing. So he went on. So this is from his ivory tower wherever he's living now. Andrew's frozen.
I think I was just going to say we've lost him.
What time is it? 21? Or is he just looking concerned?
I don't know.
Oh,
here we go. He's back.
Here I am. As I am.
Right. So anyway, he went on to say a lot of people, and this is what I thought. Right, you've never had a job. You are literally one of those people. Go, no, look, I'm a liberal. I love people. You're all wrong. You don't get it. Like he's so deluded. So he went on to say, I think this was to the Sydney Morning Herald. So this is, what's his name? Not Basil Fawlty.
John Cleese. John Cleese.
Yeah, this is John Cleese. He went to say about them pulling it down. A lot of people in charge now at the BBC just want to hang on to their jobs. If a few people get excited, they pacify them rather than standing their ground as they would have done 30 or 40 years ago. So that's in defence of a show using like the N-word 6 or 7 times needlessly. You go, like the fact he thinks, they're not bandering to the other people. And you go, you've got no idea. Like you've literally got no idea of the word that's being used. You still think it's sort of like, well, if we mock it, it's okay to do whatever. He's literally delusional. He thinks, as he said, if people can't see that, then you're stupid. Like, I mean, he's got no reference points to anything about what that racism or anything like that. But he's looking down thinking, well, how could you be so stupid to see there's a problem with that? Like, he literally thinks other people have got a problem because somebody's using the N-word again and again and again, and other stuff on basically every episode that went out. But it was, again, his response, that just reminded me of the old 80s thing. Well, I mean, the fact he says, don't stand their ground, as if they would have done 30 or 40 years ago. Even that, you go, do you not think there were problems 30 or 40 years ago?
Yeah, well, as I said, I think this went out, I think, when they still had the black and white minstrel shows showing on the...
it would have done, yeah.
BBC or ITV, because they went on until about 79, 80 something. It went on surprisingly late, you know what I mean? The black and white minstrel show. Like, it went on far... You were like, what? It finished? They stopped showing it in like 81 or 82 or something? You're like, what the fuck? Like, that's mental.
But yeah, I just think he's just, again... born here, went to uni there, popped out, Monty Python, Hollywood, and then to say, oh, you don't get it, you're pandering to people. You're not in any position to be talking about racism.
He made a whole bunch of tweets. He got in a bit of hot water a year ago.
Oh, really?
Because he made a whole bunch of tweets about how London wasn't an English city anymore, and you can walk down the street and it's just all you see is brown people and people with accents, and he goes, this isn't the country I grew up in, and I hate London, and it's not, it's a hell pit and stuff. He lives in the Caribbean. I think he lives in Jamaica actually, and has done for a very long time now, and he's saying, I would never go back to London because it's just full of brown people.
Tax exile. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And it's just like, dude, come on, you live in the Caribbean, mate. Like,
yeah, but where he's living in the Caribbean, I doubt there's probably more white people than black people. There'll be, or indigenous, because there were I'm not sure what the term is, but I think they're classed under almost like Native Americans, the people who lived in, because we think of the Caribbean as a place where black people live because of obviously the slave trade, but actually there were people living there still beforehand anyway. So those people, we just went, I think as the whites, when the whites settled there, that's all white Europeans, because no country in Europe is blameless. We all just went, oh, what's this island here? Oh, this would be a good place to stop off for us, to build our plantations for our slaves.
Load the muskets.
Yeah, exactly. But wait a minute, there's all these people living here already. Fire!
Great. Now we've got to murder all these people.
I know it sounds we're being flippant about a genocide, but it is just almost that kind of like
it's disgusting.
You kind of have to. There is an almost desperate laughter to the idea of like, oh, this would be a great place. We've stolen. I know we have receipts, but that still means they're sold. We have bought human beings. We have stolen them. Many of them have been raped. If they got sick on the way over, we just threw them overboard because that was, and claimed the insurance. That's actually what happened. Yeah. As a sidebar, recently, some alt-right, let's just say fascists, alt-right, they try to soften, neo-Nazis and fascists, they try and give it a cutesy name. So these neo-Nazis and fascists were saying, well, actually, people need to be aware that Britain only recently paid off its debt to the slave because of the slave trade with recompense. It was like, they paid off the slave owners. No slaves received compensation. The only people that received compensation, and it was the only way to end slavery because this is how powerful these people were. So they had power, they had votes, they had
the slave lobby,
was basically just like, look, fucking hell, if we just pay you for your losses, will you stop trading in human flesh? And they, after much, and that took a long time and a lot of money. So saying that, we paid off the debt, we didn't pay off the debt. I don't personally, I don't know. I sort of have mixed feelings about paying reparation. Somebody now paying reparations to someone who is because you're sort of getting into the territory of sins of the father here. Yeah. But however, at the time, clearly, and so maybe reparations are a thing to do to make amends for the fact this wasn't done at the time. And certainly if you're Lord Smithington Smythe of whatever, you can probably afford to break off some coin to some, to a couple of families. But, if you're just living in a shitty house because your family fell down, I don't know what are you going to take? It's a bit like Western Union taking our biscuits. Like, what have we got? Anyhow, I completely lost where I was going. Yeah, so it was just the fact that, people went over the sea. They just went, this would be a great place to grow sugar. The climate's perfect. I mean, I know there's people living here, but fuck it. We'll either enslave
people
them.
in the way. We'll just cut them out the way.
Yeah, we'll just enslave them or we'll shoot them.
We'll just class them not as people. We just won't consider, this is an issue. These people are in the way. So we just basically won't count them as people and we'll just murder and slaughter them and then get very offended when they eventually
fight back.
When they eventually fight back and say, hey, do you mind stop murdering us and like genociding us? So we'll be like, actually, that makes me feel really bad that you've made me feel really guilty for genociding you. Oh, that's so bad. You shouldn't do that. And it's just like, fuck off, man.
Although I remember there was a couple of episodes in the Star Trek TOS where you go, what's the rules that Kirk has to abide by?
The Prime Directive.
Yeah. And you go, did he ever give a shit about that? Because there are times in a couple of the shows where he'll go somewhere and some face will appear on the screen. Leave us, go away. And he'll be going, we are here in peace. We want to be friends. We do not want you. This is your final warning. And it'll be like, shields up. And you go, hang on.
The torpedoes, boys.
We come in peace. Shields up. And you go, no, they just said go away. No, we need to get in
please, just
here.
leave us alone. Like, we just want to be left alone. And they're like, right, bomb these fuckers.
Bomb them into understanding.
Or pacify them a bit,
Well, that was the Star Trek that song, wasn't it? The Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, starboard bow. It was a very silly song, I think, from either the 60s or the 70s, kind of. So it was just about. It's called Star Trekking Across the Universe. And,
Star Trekking Across the Universe.
Yeah, and every
spitting image or something like that, was it? No,
I think it might have been like something like a Muppets or something like that. It was kind of. It wasn't an official affiliated, although it's kind of been. Sort of welcomed by the Trek community, but there's all the verses are all the different, not all, but a lot of the different characters, and there's Spock there's McCoy going, it's worse than that, he's dead, Jim, dead Jim, dead Jim, and for Kirk it's his verses. We come in peace. Shoot to kill. Shoot to kill. Shoot to kill. We come in peace.
Faces on painful death. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Death rays to max. But yes, it was. Yeah, I mean the
Right,
thing
so-
with. Sorry,
Go on.
Kerem.
Yeah, to go back to what's his name, I'm not actually having a go at but what's his name?
John Cleese.
John Cleese.
Yeah, I'm not. It's the mindset that I thought. How many politicians and people think like this, where you've come from one place in a top hat, flew in your top hat into universities, flew from university into a high position in politics or a high job, and you have this weird view of like you think you know racism because you're a nice bloke and you've got some black friends, but you go, no, you really don't understand. You don't understand how wrong it is to be calling somebody those words. And again, it's not. It's from the 80s. It's not, and but it's the response of just like, no, that are banding down to people. You are pathetic. You go, oh, you're so removed.
It doesn't seem like there's any balance, does it, to his response? It's just everyone is wrong.
Yeah, it's the not understanding. What are you talking about? And to register 30 or 40 years ago, they wouldn't have done this 30 or 40 years ago. And you go, yeah, but it wasn't good then. That was not a good thing. I love all this. Oh, well, it was better then. And you go, yeah, but you weren't looking at the other side back then when people were being fucking hung and lynched. You'll just go, well, it's fine for me. I don't know anything. Go, no, but it's horrendous for people back then. Sorry, Charles, did you want to say something?
No, what I was going to say is it's markedly different than Matt Lucas's response to Little Britain
what was
being
that?
pulled. He said,
so hang on, Little Britain. So I only just caught a glimpse of this. So the Little Britain, he did some racial characters, didn't he? I don't know what they are, but
they blacked up a bit, and he dressed up as an Asian lady and stuff, and also they did dress up as women, which some people would consider transphobic.
Oh, really? Even that then? I mean, that's most of most of British comedy.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I suppose if it's hate, I think I'm not necessarily in favour of banning things, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like TV and books and stuff. That doesn't sit very well with me. I know that, for instance, like Disney Plus doesn't have Song of the South on it.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, that's fair enough.
Which, which is yeah. Okay, and I think fair enough. Because it's Disney Plus is like a streaming service. Kind of, they don't have anything over a 12 there. So it's kind of meant for younger people and kids. It's basically like a babysitter. They just think, okay, you can sit your 6-year-old down there and they can just watch whatever the hell they want and not get terrified or scared. There's a couple of actiony things. Some of the Marvel things they might think, oh, this is a bit much, but on the whole, it's fairly good broad family entertainment. Song of the South doesn't fit that remit. I get it. There are a couple of things on Disney Plus, like Dumbo, the original Dumbo.
Yeah,
I think it has a disclaimer. I haven't watched it myself, but I think it has
Dumbo?
With the crows.
Yeah.
I think it has the crow scene.
I think isn't one of the crows actually called Jim as well?
Oh, really?
God.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah, I have a feeling that one of the crows is called Jim, and you go, yikes.
Okay, but yes, I think they have a disclaimer there saying on some of the Disney stuff they have disclaimers saying, okay, this was made a long time ago. Some of the stuff might be viewed as offensive by today's standards. Please understand that if you're going to watch. Basically, it's on you if you sit and watch that. And
I can understand things that are sort of insensitive and it was a bit silly at the time, but it's when you're using actual abusive names on a show that's a different level altogether. The crow thing, I mean, if you put the Jim, I was thinking that's not too bad. One's called Jim, which makes me think, come on, like what?
I suppose that's going to be over the head of most children, fortunately.
Yeah.
And it might be something that a parent might explain at a later date.
And it's not like the crows are doing anything that like they're not trying to commit crime or so.
It's just that stereotype. They're almost, they're the way they talk and the way they dance.
That's more of a disclaimer. I understand that.
Yeah.
The Song of the South. What's it?
Yeah. The Song of the South is
which I think you could Google on YouTube now. I think it's still on. I did look it up.
I think it is.
It's basically, for people who don't know, because you can't get it. I have seen it a long time ago when I was a child. I mean, we're talking 30 odd years ago. I do remember
I've
seeing
seen
that film on TV. I have seen the
whole
full film on TV. I can't, but you watch clips now. Again, as a child, I'm just like, oh, isn't this happy? Like people singing along, and they have cartoon. It has that thing that
it's got zippity doo dah, doesn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah, zippity doo dah. So it's a very it seems like a very pleasant song, but I mean, basically, Song of the,
The
South.
context of it
Yeah,
is,
the context
yeah.
is basically, isn't it lovely being a slave? So, all the slaves are happy to sing along and they all feel like one big happy slave fam. If they burst out into the middle of if the big number of the musical ended up being a song called "Oh, isn't it wonderful being a slave?" you wouldn't be surprised. It's a really weird, it's a little bit like Gone with the Wind, where people are saying, oh, but it's set in the Civil War era. Yes, that's so showing I was trying to explain to somebody, they're saying, oh, but you're showing slaves. It's like, yeah, but that's correct. People had slaves in this era.
It's a periods piece. It's a historical document. It's a period piece,
but the point is that these are all slaves who are happy and no one wants to run. None of the slaves want to run away. They're all happy being, that they're on the side of the Confederacy. I'm sure there probably were through a sort of almost, although people dispute that Stockholm Syndrome is the thing, but I suppose we could say that people were indoctrinated. They were also probably afraid to run away and also it would be all you were known. If you were born into a slave house, the world is a big outskirts. And also if you run away as a fucking slave, you're going to get killed.
This is your system, unfortunately, and some people can't think, struggle. I mean, it would anyway. I mean, look at our current political and economic system. Some people will struggle to think of alternatives, to be honest, and they become very scared of any possible alternatives. You know what I mean?
Plus, if you can't read, what are you running to? Nothing.
Yeah,
you're running to another.
Where are you going to run to? There's slavery everywhere. Where the hell are you going to run to?
I think it was. I don't know if it was. I forgot her name now. She just died. No, I'm not going to remember her name. But she was saying that the best thing that they did, like the slave owners, was that they actually convinced the black people themselves that they were second class. Like they thought, well, they're the white people, they're the better ones than us. Well, yeah, but only because you've been held down with a boot on your neck, living in shit. It's not, if you put you into your house, you're going to be them. It's just because you've been convinced, so you don't want to run away. You want to be the white person. You want to be the white guy.
I think when we say best, though, we don't mean admirably. We mean the most cleverly sinister.
Yeah.
Because you know what it is like. I'm sure people, especially once we do start getting people able to tweet us and message, you have to be so careful with it. Theo said it was good at best, and hashtag cancel Theo. And it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
This is what I'm saying. Is that this is this is all terrible stuff. But I mean I've watched I've watched I watched The Eternal Jew, which is the Nazi propaganda film. Yeah,
oh, really?
It's a very famous Nazi propaganda film. It was interesting. I watched it just because I think it was on YouTube like ages ago, and I was like, oh shit. I watched it, and it was garbage, and the message behind it was very crude. Do you know what I mean? It would literally show pictures of Jewish people and then show pictures of rats. And it's like, you get it? And it's just like... and it was interesting because people saw the Nazi propaganda was so sophisticated, it was so clever, and I've actually watched some of the stuff, and I'm like, I think you've got to be at least 3/4 of the way there to be duped by this. You know what I mean? This is I'm not sure you would watch this and like.
But also, you do have the hindsight of saying, "Oh, these are obvious," things like that. And also, you've got to remember that people watching those films, some of them would have been born before there was cinema. I'm not excusing it, but you know what I mean? There's a level of sophistication that we have. Yeah,
for the audience. And expectation stuff, but still, it came across as
you
very
crude
and very child. But I think it's not. I don't see it's going to convince many people. Many people who aren't like anti-Semitic would sit down and watch that and go, "Oh wow, that explains everything." Yeah, it's not. It's very poorly shot. Yeah, very odd, very very crude editing, very clunky, and you just go, this really is
it's
a load of garbage. This is a garbage ideology, and even at their best, even when they're trying to promote their best ideas, you're like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, you're right. I suppose what it's really doing is reinforcing a systemic endemic anti-Semitism, which was rife in Germany since the mid-19th century at least, and that's not to say that anywhere hasn't had these problems. It was just that was their period. I mean, Britain had if you want to talk about anti-Semitism, Britain went expelled Jews from this country for the best part of, I think, 500 years. It wasn't until it's from the Middle Ages. No, it might have been, I think it was 400. Look at me going like, oh no, it wasn't 5, it was only 4.
You fool.
They basically, so in the Middle Ages, we, even although obviously the Middle Ages were a brutal period, the idea that you would expel an entire race, an entire religious group.
Was
quite, it was quite unheard of. And it was Edward the First that did it. And
they had them from York. They had the
they burned them.
York.
But they those that they didn't burn alive, they expelled. And it wasn't until the Restoration under Cromwell, the interregnum with Cromwell, that the Jews were brought back. So we're talking, I would say at least 350. It might have been close to 400 years. So
what was there's a movie in the late 80s or 90s where the aliens come down to Earth and they're scared of water. It's like batteries.
Alien Nation.
And don't they have a thing about how they integrate and look? Oh, there's one in the police force now.
Yeah.
And I thought, but we won't really learn anything because if that did happen, there would be a new version of look what they are, look what they're doing, look what's happening to society because of them. We'd still do it. We'd still. But
I think I said ages ago, like on the podcast. But like, I think if they did suddenly like go, if aliens landed, I think everyone would kind of freak out a bit for about 2 or 3 weeks. But then I think after that, people just go, okay, yeah, there's aliens. Right.
Yeah.
And they just live down the road. Okay. Yeah, there's bug people. All right, fair enough. Yeah. You see them down the shop. We think
we're all enlightened, but we're not. They'll go through their own form of racism. It's just the same thing. It'll be the same thing. It'll be the same thing all over again.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. There would be prejudice and stuff. But and that was the point of Alien Nation. It's just like, hey, racism, but with sci-fi. So you're like, okay, yeah.
Because they can get drunk off milk, can't they? I think is the...
What was it? Yeah, what was that milk? Something about milk?
Yeah, they get drunk off milk.
Yeah, and what they get, one of them tries to kill another one of the aliens. They get him and throw him in the sea, like salt water's like battery acid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen the TV movie. I haven't seen the series.
I've seen because the film is James Caan, isn't it? I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I want to say I think it's Mandy Patinkin under all that sort of rubber and latex. You killed my alien father. Prepare to die.
Oh God! Do you remember V, where they used to eat the rats? It used to be on a Sunday night. I remember that. Oh, God.
Well, this is the David Icke thing. People saying like, "Oh, it's lizard people." And it's like that's the plot of V, and V predates your aliens are taking over thing. Like, no, that's like me going, "Oh, okay." There's these people who can use this mystical power called the Force. Bill Clinton is one of these Force users, and he uses. Have
you ever seen Star Trek?
The Force?
Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about?
Or Star Wars, but it's just like, you know what I mean? It's just like, what you but it's just so transparent, and and it's the fact he latches onto every single thing. Every time there's a new thing, he latches onto it. It's like, but if you have this clairvoyance, if you know. Why didn't you say, oh, by the way, in 5 years' time, there's going to be this thing called coronavirus and it's caused by this other thing called 5G? It's like, no, you latched on because you saw that people were tweeting this bollocks about 5G causing coronavirus. You've latched onto and go, oh, yeah, that's also part of the lizard people plot.
Well,
the Anunnaki, sorry, not lizard people.
But yeah, he did that a 2-hour lecture, an hour and a half lecture, a month or two ago. Then it got complaints from Ofcom.
This is the Bitcoin guy. This is with that Bitcoin guy I was talking about. Carry on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, but it's just a short thing. So he did this hour and a half little thing about 5G and how it was all done corona. And he's like, I've been saying this for years. I've been saying 5G is going to cause this disease because it heats up, excites your cells, and it does all these different frequencies. I've been saying it for decades. And it's like, no, you haven't. There's no record of this. You've just literally latched onto the latest kind of kooky conspiracy craze,
It's worrying about our society that we still believe in those things. Like, it's still, that's still in our DNA. It just takes somebody to come along and exploit those insecurities and things and go, oh, hey, look, there's a thing going on behind the scenes.
Well, there's increasing evidence that a lot of these coronavirus conspiracies, misinformation, is being pumped out by China. China. Because basically just to say, so that to kind of get rid of some of the blame from themselves and basically to create confusion and go, because obviously there's been a lot of accusation that the Chinese could have done more to A, tackle the disease head on, B, not to cover it up and arrest their own doctors who were saying this is a big fucking deal and we need to deal with this head on.
Certainly, I think that they haven't been telling the full truth.
No,
because why would they? They just naturally are very sort of secretive, authoritarian nations.
Yeah.
Why would they?
Again, just to avoid the cancel culture, we're talking about the Chinese government, not the Chinese race. Please, please take a mallet and knock some sense into yourself, and then you'll be able to understand conversations and context, dear listeners. But yeah, so they're saying that actually a lot of this is coming from, state-sponsored, hacker groups saying, don't take ibuprofen because that will make it give you super coronavirus. And now they're saying, oh no, actually, it's an ingredient in ibuprofen that can now actually be useful in the fight against corona. Again, I'm going to get an update from my girlfriend about this when she corrects me. There's all sorts of things. So it's saying, that 5G causes coronavirus, that actually Bill Gates is behind it, that all this stuff, and they're saying it's all coming from China just to kind of take off the flack from them, just to spread so that everyone in the West, because we're all just garbage parrots, let's call it, are just going to spread this absolute nonsense amongst it. It's been nice on social media. It's actually been an opportunity, all of this. So coronavirus and what's happening with the Black Lives Matter movement is that it's quite interesting to go, oh, okay, so this friend who I assume was cool is kind of a racist, or this friend who I thought was, seemed okay, maybe a little bit, maybe slightly more right of centre than I am, but generally whatevs, we can have political. Oh, okay, no, they're just a nationalistic fascist. Okay, fine. It's quite interesting actually.
I had a 4-hour discussion about statues the other night. We started at 1 a.m. We didn't finish till about 5. It got a bit heated with a very good friend of mine.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you and your mum still on.
No. She's on board. She just, she's just like. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what was I do have some thoughts, but what was the crux of the debate? I don't know if we can cover 4 hours.
No. Well, it was the same. It was me kind of, unfortunately, repeating the same kind of points. Is that I think that maybe in some it wasn't a very controversial point, but my unfortunately, my very good friend of mine, love the guy, he's great, but yeah, we had a bit of a strong disagreement on it. Unfortunately, we're cool now. We got a bit heated now. It's just like, oh god,
what was his position? But what were the positions? What were you saying and he was saying?
I was saying that I think that in some circumstances, some statues of people who have done terrible things maybe should be taken down.
How unreasonable, Charles.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that we should, like with that guy in Bristol, I was like, because
also,
like,
who gives a shit? Who's going, Colston, that great national... I'd never heard of him until they threw a statue into the river.
I'd never heard of him.
And then honestly, when they said, I was like, good riddance, once I did find out who he was.
But like roads, I think that I'm not sure that there's any positive thing you can say about fucking Rhodes.
Cecil Rhodes. This is Cecil Rhodes for people who, if you want to find out what an awful human being looks like, Google Cecil Rhodes.
Probably one of the worst. I mean, as close to one of the Nazi kind of awful Nazi war criminals as this country's produced.
Where is this statue?
There's quite a lot of Rhodes, I would say.
Well,
London?
There is in Oxford University. There is a large prominent on one of the colleges, and in the middle of town there is a large prominent statue, and the university has for decades refused to discuss taking that down.
And give me a quick synopsis on Cecil Rhodes. Who is he? What's the problem?
So if you basically took it upon himself with hired mercenaries to essentially carve out huge swathes of Africa for himself, shooting anyone and anything that got in his way.
Personally, at some points, he's responsible for murdering people himself.
Civilians, didn't matter.
Children, women, whatever. Slaughtering villages, wiping out whole areas.
Definitely, absolutely didn't have the tacit agreement and support of the British government. Of course not. They were appalled. Basically just a mercenary opportunity. It's the kind of thing you would go, well, fuck it, that was the Middle Ages, and you go, oh, this was 100. This was 100 and something odd years.
1890, the 1900. He stood the he founded. He was one of the founders of De Beers, the diamond merchants. They worked hundreds, if not thousands, of slaves to death. At one point, they were just flooding. They just flooding mines out and just killing people. And because of that, fuck it, we can't bother to get them out. He also set up Rhodesia, which was and South Africa, apartheid South Africa, and Rhodesia was worse than South Africa. So he set up very two racist states. Where white people were dominating and subjugating black people in that area. He also was responsible for the I forget the name of it, but there was a raid he tried to do a land grab that basically started the Boer War. So he is, as I said, he is a monster. Oh, and he legalized torture in those areas as well for people who and he had terror squads who would go around and murder and lynch and torture black people just to keep them in line at random. He is a monster. There is no defensible.
Which university? Have we got a nice statue of him in it?
Oh, it's Oxford. I forget which college actually. Nice. It's once
again removed from society, just in another world. Oh, so they were kicking off, and the fitness industry's been kicking off because somebody went into Columbus, Ohio, where Schwarzenegger's got a statue of him, and they sprayed the hands red and wrote Black Lives Matter next to it, like and people are like, he's an immigrant. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. It's like, don't just attack anything now, because it's when you make yourself.
I would not thought of Schwarzenegger as a racist person. I mean,
he's an immigrant. He's for you.
He's a Republican, but he was I think he was reasonably left wing on some issues. He was very pro climate, very pro
his republicanism is more a tax issue, isn't it? I would say his tax policy is Republican. I think that most of his sort of I suppose societal things are very.
But that's where you start to get into areas of like you're making it hard on yourself. Don't start just attacking anything because it's there. Come on.
It's an odd one to pick on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's probably plenty of injunctions and whatnot to reveal that he probably has illegitimate children of every creed and colour.
Well, they say his father was a member of the Nazi Party, which came out.
He was a police officer, wasn't he?
Yeah, what's that got to do with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. And he's dead, and it's like he didn't even have a lot to do with his father. He left home. I mean, he left home when he was a kid. So you go, but I mean, is it that? I mean, are we even just trying to think of it, or is it just, there's a statue?
But I think he was not to defend him, but I think he was a police officer and basically, I think he was police captain or something, and he kind of had to join because I'm not defending him, but
they moved in and he was in charge of the police force. What was he going to say?
But I mean, what you're gonna, there's children of the I can't remember who because alas, some of them killed their own children, but there are descendants of the Nazi high command. I think it's Goring. Goring has some living descendants. Is it their fault?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Hermann Goering. There was a very brief thing to be like, oh, he was the funny one who surrendered. It's like, no, architect of the final solution, pushed for unremitting warfare on the civilians in terms of bombing. So not this jolly guy who maybe liked to wear ladies' underwear. This is one of the worst humans who's ever lived. But I think I believe I could be mistaken. I believe it's Goering's. Some of his descendants are still alive. I could be mistaken. I mean, there are distant relatives of Hitler still alive. I think like his nieces or nephews. It's something like that. There are it's not quite that close perhaps, but there are descendants.
I watched the documentary a while ago and I can't remember. It was one of the high ranking dudes, and he was like Himmler or someone like that. And they had his grandson, and he was it was obviously something that weighed very heavily on him, and he was very anti right-wing campaigner and anti-fascist person, and he was very he was obviously he obviously felt the weight of that on him, and he was trying to make amends.
Well, the Germans did go out of their way to sort of say, look what we've done, sort of thing. A lot of the other ones, Italy never really sort of accepted it.
I suppose the difference is that obviously the atrocities committed by the Nazis, the Holocaust. But it's interesting that whenever we talk about the war, I was saying this to my housemate the other day. Actually, whenever we talk about the war, we always say the Nazis. We never say the Germans. But when we talk about the Japanese, who also committed atrocities particularly against the Chinese, but also against when they took Singapore, they went into a hospital and just bayoneted all the wounded. In Nanjing, they basically they basically raped people to death.
And what was it? The experimentation wing, room 107 or something. They were running like Mengele experiments.
Yeah, they basically treated the Chinese how the Germans treated the Jews. But we don't say Imperial Japan. We just say Japan. Yeah. And it's because we needed. I think it's because we had to retcon things and say, there was this notion of the good. There was always the good Germans, and you go, no, there were no good Nazis. There were no nice Nazis. It was Albert Speer was the guy who said sorry. Well, he got sorry because they lost the war and he got caught, but he was also instrumental in designing the death camps.
Rommel, we love a bit of Rommel, don't we?
Rommel's because he killed himself and there's romanticised, but it's like, but he did also, he was a Nazi. Right, from the early days. Karl Dönitz. He was the guy that signed the surrender. Yeah, he also again involved in war crimes because he decided it was fine to sink unarmed merchant vessels. That was his idea.
Was Oskar Schindler? Was he actually part of the Nazi Party?
Yeah, he was a member. He was a card-carrying member of the Nazi Party.
You had to be, though, didn't you? Had to be.
There is that. Yes, he was. I sort of, it's one of those things with, again, his reputation has swung left and right, because we've sort of said, there was this thing of saying, actually he was only doing it for the money. I'm okay with that. If he saved, because also he could have not done it, and he probably, and if caught, possibly could have been shot. I mean, it was his political connections that kept him safe and allowed him to bend the rules slightly, as everyone did. People would have, do all sorts of things if they, just to get away with it. It's the classic, yeah.
The level of grift, that's the astonishing thing. I mean, when you look, everyone was skimming. It was like a criminal enterprise at times because people were skimming, people were taking bribes. It was so corrupt. You think that they're very heavily ideologically driven? Yes, they were, but like also the amount of scams that so petty things that people were doing, like just to make a little bit on the side. It was very strange. Yeah.
Well, it's almost like the Trump sort of lot. It's just everyone's in it. It's just a gravy train. Everyone's just riding.
Everyone's on the take.
Have you seen recently what they said? They're saying like he's been getting a bit depressed because his numbers have gone down. He's now sort of thinking, I might not get re-elected here, and what they've started doing is they've been putting a load of ads up, like in places where they shouldn't be. They're just not going to work, like videos. And somebody with his thing come out and said they're literally just putting them out because he watches the TV and he needs to see them on screen because he's seeing all the Lincoln Project videos that are coming out and he's getting battered by these Lincoln Project videos that are Republicans that are spending money against him, and they're quite effective. And they said he's getting depressed, so they're having to spend money to just put ads everywhere just so he can see them. Like they serve no purpose. Like the level, because they're saying he's at this point now where the reality is starting to sort of edge into his delusion, and he's starting to realise, I might not get back in here. So having to spend money on adverts just to show him, look, you're doing well.
Don't worry, it's all okay.
Yeah,
there was a lot of analogies when he locked himself in the bunker while the riots were going on. I was like, I remember another chap who locked himself in a bunker.
It's funny how you get everybody else to go out fighting.
History repeating here a bit, I felt. Yeah,
and that man's name was John Connor, and he fought the machines.
Yes,
yeah. It's I still have a horrid feeling he's going to win. I mean, I don't want him to.
Here's the thing. Okay, I keep saying
it's a while. It's 5 months and a lot.
He would be quite happily burn the country to the ground rather than not get in again. Okay, there's no there's amount. People don't matter. So one person, a million people, is irrelevant. But so what's the one card they've got to play is something big has to happen to take your mind off of it. That then keep me in. So that's his last card. So I've said before. I've said like a year ago. To keep himself in, if it all goes tits up and he knows he's not getting back in, something's going to happen. Something big's going to be a war somewhere just to take your mind off it. That would be their last playing card.
Well, now he's leaning heavily into just while the country burns, and while people are still now they've already had their second wave of coronavirus again. He's now leaning heavily into Obamagate and Pizzagate and saying that they're all part of a satanic pedo cult.
But this is just messing around. I'm talking about when it comes to few months away, when there's a few months away and everything's against him, you ain't getting back in, mate. Then something big. He's not going to go, oh, well, there you go. He will sooner die than lose that position because he knows what's going to come with it when he does leave. So it's basically his life on the line. So he will do anything, throw anything under the bus. Not these little political games. He will fucking do something big will happen just to go, right, fuck it. Just
they've already there's a bit of controversy because he's going to hold a rally. Is it in Tulsa, actually? I think he's holding one of his rallies on Juneteenth, they call it, which is the anniversary of the abolition of slavery. I think it's in Tulsa as well, which is the site of obviously the Tulsa massacre. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's intentionally picked a very there will be riots there.
Yeah,
there will be riots on that.
Yeah, but
day.
that's what he leans into.
That's precisely what he's doing. He's intentionally stoking that fire. He's intentionally. I mean, I think he'd rather. It seems like he'd rather fight an election on racial issues than his record on coronavirus.
Yeah. I mean, but I think he's just grabbing at anything.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not even that smart. He just throw. Hey, what's the most common thing? Racism, right? Bung that in there.
People, because he's like my base. What gets them all fired up? Oh, a bit of racial tension.
Yeah, because in a funny way, I mean, he's not actually racist. He's just all he cares about is himself. So whether it's racism here or that there,
He was found guilty, or the Trump organization was found guilty of deliberately not letting.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think he gives a shit. He's like the Don King sort of thing. He really doesn't care about. He hates everyone's money to him. It just happens that if black people living in my flats has got to lower the prices, then I'll get rid of them. If Jewish people live in my property and it's got to lower the price, if white people live and lower my property,
I think he's got a baseline of kind of old man racism. I think he's just kind of like average racist for a 70-year-old.
Yeah, he's got that thing of course there, bitch.
But I think that what's really worrying is that with him, and I think with Boris as well, is that they don't really have an ideology beyond themselves and their own.
So what I'm saying is, if for some reason suddenly there was more black people and more than anything, and all started to love him, he'd go with them. Yeah, vote me in. Yeah, I love you all. Hate the whites. Yeah, they're shit, aren't they? He'd be like a Candace Owens.
yeah.
Just turning on your own.
Yeah, he would. I think he would just say whatever he can just to get in power. And if he could say the opposite stuff all of a sudden, then he probably would.
Yeah, I think it's got to be. I mean, again, we're talking about people who are. I was thinking about this the other day about good old Jacob Rees-Mogg and people like that. I'm like, these are dead people. Like they're dead inside. There's not a human living inside that shell. And it's a bit like can you imagine being a Republican? Fair enough. I don't hold that. Republicans bad, Democrats good, that kind of thing. Same in this country, conservative is not conservative bad, Labour good, or vice versa, and it's not. The most recent contentious thing politically in our time. It's not pro Brexit bad, pro Remain good, or vice versa. Those lines are not that simple. But if you're a Republican, can you like a senator or whatever, or someone with power, some kind of influence? Can you imagine looking at your president, your leader, ordering troops to fire upon people outside of a church?
Yeah.
I mean, not that the church makes it better, but you go, Jesus. I mean, for example, there's Jesus, that was ironic. Yeah. But there is something about whether I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in God. I'm open-minded, but personally, I don't believe necessarily in the Judeo-Christian God, and I certainly don't. I think there should be absolute separation of churches. But you could look at that and you go, have you no shame, no decency to it's
have you no decency, sir? Yes.
But it's that thing again. They're saying, things are shit, but it makes me money and it keeps me in my life, so I don't care what's going on outside of it. It's just that. Oh, Andrew's frozen again.
I know, he's frozen again, yeah. What were we saying?
So my point is, like, with the Republican Party, it's like the Nazi Party all over again. Yeah, I was in it, but I didn't want to be. I had to be. It's just my life. That's what it was. Right, because when it's all over, just before, like all of it, just before when Trump looks like he's going down, they're all going to do what the Nazis did. They're all going to pop up and go, "Oh, do you know what? Oh, I don't really like him that much. I don't really."
Well, they already are. There have been several congressmen and senators. And you're back. There's been several prominent Republican.
They're starting to dip their toes in. You go, well, talk now.
Well, they are. They're marching against Trump. I mean, they have been. I've forgotten his name. There's a couple of guys who ran against him, and they've been on marches, and they've actually come out and said, I will not vote for him in the next election.
Yeah. Well, like the Lincoln Project, they're saying, look, like they're doing what the Democrats should be doing. They're harder on Trump than the Democrats are, because them Lincoln Project.
What is the Lincoln Project?
They're Republicans against Trump. They stand for like what republicanism is, not all the other shit stuff. So they've been putting out adverts sort of every now and again, but like how you would want an advert to be against Trump. Look, he's this. Look, he's that. He says he's this, but he's that. So even like people that are on the Democratic side are saying, look, why aren't the Democrats doing this? So
they're useless. He took legal action. I remember they did an advert a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, and it literally just had clips of Trump, literally just clips of Trump and the date of when he said these things, saying coronavirus is a load of rubbish. We've had 8 cases. It'll be over in a week. And this was, February. We've got 3 deaths. We'll probably get about 20 at most. It'll be over in a week. And then had the date, like March.
And they've
he's
put
just
out a load of them.
And then it goes, we've had 100,000 deaths. Yeah, well, I think that's a good result. Screw it. And it's just like, and he actually took a legal action to try and put an injunction on an advert that just had him saying stuff. It was just quotes from him. You know what I mean?
But the Democrats are just so good at losing. They've just got no back. They've got more. The majority of the country are Democratic, but we just can't do anything with it. We can't. We're better than that. Anyway, so let's get off of racism. I think we've covered that. We don't need to. Trump. Have you got any more you want to throw in there?
No. I mean, it's just
Trump Nazism, and
I just think about the 2016 election when it looked like he was winning and all the other Republican guys were getting knocked out. They were like, everyone's like, "Hey, Ted Cruz is going to save us." It's like, he ain't better. He's not better.
That's your saviour.
We're relying on Ted Cruz. It's just like, oh God, oh no, this is how bad things are going. Well, it's like we're having to rely on Joe Biden to win an election. I mean, that's how bad things have got in America. That Joe Biden is now trying to
Sleepy Joe.
Hopefully he can save the Western world. It's just like, oh God, no.
Yeah, can he string a sentence together? Does he know where he is? Does he know where he is today?
His false teeth keep falling out. I mean, it's just. God. I have you watched that clip of? You probably haven't, but there's him talking, the corn pop story he does, where he talks about.
I'm afraid.
It was 15 minutes. He was seemed to be talking in an African American community center somewhere. I can't remember where. I've been Baltimore or Philadelphia, somewhere on the East Coast, I think. And he gave the most Grandpa Simpson fucking story, just rambling on about like, well, which of course was the style at the time. It's just like, oh God, this guy's brain doesn't work.
But they're so removed that they don't know they're removed. What they're looking at is like a delusion, and you go, no, stop talking. You don't know what you're saying. But it's that the old living in a top hat thing. Like they don't know what they don't know. Back to old Basil Fawlty again. You go, what's his name?
John Cleese.
John Cleese. I can't. Basil Fawlty's fine. I know what you mean.
There's not a lot, but it's the not knowing. What you're saying is wrong. Like you don't realise that you're indicative of a certain type of people. You don't know that you're wrong. But the American thing after Bernie started, once the Democrats turned on their own and said, no, we'd sooner have Trump than somebody that's actually going to change things. Let's all turn on him. And all of the Kamala Harris and all them ones, and especially, what was the other woman, the last one to fall, that should be his friend?
His friend?
They were bosom buddy. And she should have stuck up for him, and then she just kept quiet.
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren, yeah.
Okay,
People were saying, well, we're not going to forget. We're not going to forget. You could have said something. You were the last sort of help for him, and you go, "Nah, to keep quiet on this."
Yeah, of course.
So after all that, I just thought, it's just money. That's all it is. 2-tier system. Until you start getting people out of buildings, nothing's going to change. The system is the poison. So it's poison system. So whoever goes in there, it gets poisoned.
I just feel sad for because you were like, oh, I just felt like the sun was shining on my face, and then
I couldn't believe it because I thought, I might be wrong here. Like it might be a back. And then no, what was that? That one few days where it looked like, he's beating Joe in one of these things, and Joe was like, everyone's packing up with Joe. And then he might actually win something. And then suddenly, all the doors, boom, boom, boom. They all made secret deals.
He didn't. He entered it quite late. I swear he entered the. I'm pretty certain he entered the primary candidacy quite late. There was a couple of caucuses and elections and
Joe?
votes. Yeah, Joe Biden. Yeah, before he entered, and then he started off with a very low share of the vote, and then he exponentially.
But it was who was the gay one? The gay fella. They were getting behind him.
Buttigieg?
Yeah, it's a really, I can't know.
So they were behind him. He's young, he talks like us, but but then when he stopped doing too well, they thought, shit, who else have we got? Oh no, we've only got Joe Biden. Let's get behind him. Oh no, he's not doing well. Right, we have to get rid of the competition. Right, we have to get all the people that are running for change and all that. Let's have some phone calls to them, and then suddenly they all went boom, boom, boom. Oh, we're all for Joe. We're all for Joe. We're all for Joe. I'm for Joe. And you go, you scumbags, you bloody scumbags! Anything to stop Bernie Sanders getting in, who actually wanted change.
Yeah.
So it's done. It's done. The system is too strong at the moment, and they got rid of any change. The Democrats said we'd sooner have Trump in than actual change. So it's money. It's just basically money.
I would have liked to have seen. I don't think Bernie would have won because I think, like in this country, I just don't think there's a big enough support for socialism or a socialist, an open socialist candidate. I just don't think there's a strong enough support to win an election. But I would have liked to have seen him run just because I'd be interested to have seen the him bring up these topics like healthcare, like education stuff. You know what I mean? To turn the debate to those things. To the political discussion. So it's a shame that he didn't, because I would have liked to have seen it. Would have been a referendum on socialism and on things like healthcare, and we didn't get that. So that's a bit of a shame. But I think that Joe Biden is, unfortunately, because of his brand recognition, his name is more likely to win. To be honest,
if he can get there on his Zimmer frame.
Hopefully they'll have a good VP, and then when he's napping, I mean less bombings and drone strikes and all these sorts of things.
Right, so let's close it up here. Anything nice going on? Anything positive happening? Have you finished your zombie script?
Oh, what, me?
Yeah.
That was finished ages ago. This is a different script I'm doing now.
Okay.
What are you working on now?
It's a pilot for
vampires.
No, this is more a historical sort of drama series.
Okay,
just a pilot on it. Yeah.
What part of history?
So I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to talk about it because I not like it's a super sexy. Yeah, I'm secretly writing Avatar 4. It's not like that. I just someone says please. Don't
but what era is it though?
So it's the that's something. So it's I guess it's the high point of or sort of towards the tail end of the height of the Venetian Republic, if that makes sense. So it's conflict with the other Italian states and the Ottomans. That's the context. But it's not
the
just
Ottomans.
About that.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. For Kerem. Are any of them vampires, or are any of them vampires or werewolves?
Sadly, no. There is a soupçon. There's a sprinkle of some, I think, what we call soft magic early on, but there's not much.
Wizards, not Harry Potter sort.
No, sadly, there is a witch, but no wizards.
Okay.
But she's a good witch. But yes, during, as you might suspect, in this era of history, any woman who has ideas or power or anything like that does not come up well.
If she could read or write, she's a witch.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, it's funny, but it's
true. Yeah.
Actually, I just realised the other week we were talking about Basil Fawlty's wife. What's her name? Connie.
Well, Connie Booth.
Yeah, so the or whatever, I'm getting.
That's why I was confused. I was like, do you mean Sybil or do you mean his actual?
But the one he wrote it with, she's the witch in the thing, isn't she? In Life of Brian, not Life of Brian, myself.
Holy Grail.
Yeah, she's the
from
witch that's been balanced on the thing.
Oh, okay.
You go, it's a fair cop.
Yeah, because she has it, but they divorced they were separated between I don't know if they were divorced, but their marriage was over between series 1 and 2. Like, there's quite a big gap between.
Oh, really?
Because there's always the thing about Fawlty Towers. Everyone always thinks like that there was loads and it's just 2 series of it's 12 episodes and that they came quick, and then for some reason there was. I think there's quite a few years between series 1 and 2, partly because of the writing, but also can we work together now that we're no longer together?
like Rick and Morty, yeah.
Yeah, but she's
about 2 gap.
Yeah. But she the cat's mother, Connie Booth, isn't involved in show business at all. She's oh crikey, I believe she's a therapist, a psychotherapist. I believe something certainly within that field, or related. So yeah, she's out of the limelight. I think she doesn't do anything involved with it. She doesn't talk about it. Not like she's like refusing to talk. She just doesn't.
Still gets those. Still cashes those royalty checks, probably though.
Probably. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, she did.
Why not?
She did co-write
yeah,
it, so you know.
One episode less check work coming through at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be embarrassing if that's your thing. I mean, obviously Basil Fawlty, whatever his name is, isn't embarrassed. I wonder if she is. I wonder what her comments on it would be.
I never said about Matt Lucas.
Oh yeah, what was his
Yeah,
response?
we got distracted. Matt Lucas said because he's a nice lad and I like him, and he's very he's going to do Great British Bake Off as well whenever the next series starts. So he Middle England's new sort of puppy dog, really. You know what I mean? Like nice wholesome chap, you know. And he said, you know, I know people say, oh, well, it wasn't that long ago. He said, but if we were making the show, he goes, there's some sketches I regret. There's some sketches I don't think were particularly funny even when we were doing them. Like, it's a bit like,
thing to say.
He was like, it's okay, but like, you know, there's some sketches that are better than others. He goes, and there's some sketches that don't hold up now. And he's like, but if we were doing the show today, I would do it very differently than how we did it back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Well, that's all you need to do.
The world is different. The world is different, and it's changed. People's perceptions have changed quite a lot in quite a short time, I think. And he's like, we would handle things differently, and we would approach it differently. And I think that, that's fair enough.
Yeah, because there was, it was also the creator of Bo Selecta has sort of expressed very, very remorsefully he was quite, particularly the Trisha, but even at the time, even though there were other characters
of what
of his show Bo Selecta, because he would dress up as extreme caricatures. Not the whole point of the joke was that they weren't even good caricatures of who these celebrities were. So he single-handedly ruined Craig David's career for about 10 years because no one could take Craig David seriously anymore. He would have
people still ask him about his kestrel.
Yeah, they still, because I think Craig David's from Yorkshire, really. So he had him but he played up the Yorkshire accent and had him had Kez on his hand, and it was all sorts of. And Mel B was,
all right, it's Craig David.
It was all this, and it was the Mel B was very funny with her being almost like Jim Bowen, because I think again they're from the same area. So it's basically wearing a Jim Bowen mask. I don't think he.
Michael Jackson is like a 70s kind of pimp or whatever, you know.
Yeah, with a slightly melted face. I never felt uncomfortable with those sketches. I mean, also because they didn't. I mean, also you can't black up as Michael Jackson, but also, as the Mel B, I don't think he did black up. I think he just. I think he just. But I don't remember anyway. But with Trisha, that was very blacked up. They gave her a stereotypic, this almost grotesque, cartoonish, large bottom, and she kept talking about enjoying having rice and pea. And you're like,
oh really?
Yeah. And it was just like, even at the time, again, I mean, this is Bo Selecta, I think, was turn of the century, so we're talking 20 odd years ago.
Turn of the century.
Yeah, exactly. But you go, fucking hell, rice and pea. What you talk? Even at the time, it was just like. Yeah. Wow, who went? Yeah, this.
So you said
she had a faux Jamaican accent.
It was just so weird because it was like, but I don't.
She doesn't sound like that. So, what I mean? That's the thing. She doesn't sound like she was supposed to come onto the podcast. I spoke to her really?
About a year ago, yeah. But I think suddenly she went off to America and all that, so I didn't hear back from her.
Yeah.
So you were talking earlier about the fact that even the trans community now, we might have to look at not just racial stuff, but men that were dressing as women could be offensive.
Well, I think there were accusations of trans. It was because I think less so to do with them dragging up, but there was more because that is a kind of staple of British, as you say. That's 90% of British.
Forget
comedy.
Monty Python, then. Get rid of all.
But that's also Panto. But there was a character.
Yeah.
There was also a character. I forget her name now, but she's, it was, oh, I'm a lady. And it was all the joke that it was, because it was David Walliams, who's very tall. And although he's has quite a camp persona, it was the joke that she'd be wearing this silly, frilly dress and going to get, for example, having an x-ray, and the doctor would be like, oh, you need this lead to cover your testicles. And she'd be like, "Oh, I don't have testicles. I'm a lady."
The joke was that he wasn't just playing a female character. He was playing a transvestite.
Yes, that was
That was the joke, and like that. So it wasn't just like, okay, this dude, this person is playing a female character, and okay, whatever. It's the fact that this person is playing a transvestite or a trans person or whatever, and a gender non-binary person, let's say, and that was the joke. That was the butt of the joke.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things. It was a bit like The Only Gay in the Village, and it was sort of like, I don't know if we're laughing with or at this. I mean, I would probably caveat that The Only Gay in the Village, that recurring sketch, was performed by Matt Lucas, who is an out gay man. And also wrote it and
also the joke there, I suppose, was not to defend it or whatever, because I think it's particularly funny, but the joke there was that they were constantly he wanted to be unique and special by being the only gay in the village, and he was constantly shown to be, oh no, look, there's loads of gay dudes here, there's a gay club, there's a gay society, why don't you meet, look, there's a gay dude right out next to you in the pub, why don't you chat him up? And like he's like, oh no, I don't know about that. And like, so that was the joke, is that he wanted to be the only gay in the village,
and slightly self-hating as well, wasn't there? That he wouldn't, it turned, I think by the end of probably the series run, it was almost like everyone in the village was gay and having loads of sex apart from him, and they would just do these very crass jokes.
By it,
they'd be like, oh, you could have had yourself a nice bit of, I'm only repeating the sketch here, people.
Nice
Again, don't cancel. They'd say, well, you could have had yourself a nice bit of cock and bum there. And it was sort of, that was the joke of it. I mean, again, it's one of those things you're like, this sounds like it was written by children, even though it's the silliness of it.
It's very juvenile, isn't it?
Do you remember the Alan Partridge scene when he's doing the radio, and it's the phone in about something like being gay and being married, and he goes, so I won't use his first name, but Domingo in Little Oakley. Oh, he's hung up. He goes, I know Little Oakley, there's a wonderful tapas bar there. And he goes, no.
Domingo, who's a waiter in like
Little
this tiny
Oakley.
this Spanish restaurant in this tiny village, and he just goes like, oh, he hung up.
Wonderful little tapas bar down there. Oh god. So what else have we going on? So there we go. We had a nice little podcast there. I mean, I feel like we should give if you're still listening after last week's show, where from memory it was like half of it was about water and the other half was about roadsides.
Oh, about the water. So yes, I had a text because she was listening yesterday, catching up. My girlfriend, she was saying that her one sort of caveat, she said it's still too much water for one person, but that apparently American gallons are smaller than the rest of the world. Their measures of a gallon is smaller than, I don't know.
They always got to be different, don't they? They always.
Exactly.
Google it. See what the Google says.
See what the Google says.
Yeah.
Fire up the. Based on, I was going to say based on my internet today, this will be my last interaction.
I couldn't. I can't.
The bottlenecking of it.
Gallon, US gallon.
It can't be that much. It must be very slight.
But it's like their pints. It's like when you order you say, "Oh, I'll have a pint of lager," and you're like, "What's this? This is not a pint." Well, because they don't do imperial pints.
Oh, don't they?
Yeah. No. So you order a pint and you get this weird. It's still fine. It's still enough alcohol. You go, actually, I probably shouldn't.
So a gallon's like 4.5 litres, 4 litres, something like that.
So it's a US liquid gallon is 0.83 of a everywhere else in the world gallon. is different to a UK gallon. So a UK gallon is 0.83 gallon. One US gallon is 0.83.
Yes, it's not that big a difference. What are we talking? I mean, you could remove a couple of litres out of his whole gallon thing for the day. 4 gallons, still bollocks. Well, look, he's fucking bought a couple of shares in a water company. We know what's going on.
It's such a strange thing. It's like water company. You know, it's like when people were stockpiling water at the beginning of the lockdown. It's like, you just turn on your tap. What's the matter with you?
It's mad. Yeah. It's like the vitamin industry. It's like the protein industry. It's one of those things that's such a huge con that we can't see clearly in it anymore. Like, we literally can't see out of it. Like the water thing, we've been convinced to pay more for water than we do for fuel, and we're doing it willingly. And we've had all this. I think Nike. What's that? Coca-Cola have got a few water companies. I know that some rap fella bought a water company, Vitamin Water. But it's so.
I want to say that was 50 Cent.
Yeah, I think that was one of those ones. But I think he owns Vita Water. Oh no, Coca-Cola might have bought it off of him. But now they're all having a go. They're all gone, oh look, we can sell water for more than fuel, and it costs a sod all, and we can have old Nestle draining the bloody lakes of the US to do it. And it's there in your tap anyway, and it's but no, we've conned you into fucking buying it out of the bottles. I do buy a bottle, and I use 1 bottle per week. That's it, and I keep filling that water bottle up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but to be fair, a lot of countries you can't drink the tap water.
Yeah, but the companies that you ain't going to be getting heavy on, it's all over in the Western countries.
Yeah, if you're not a local though, if you are local and you're used to that water, you can drink it.
But I'm saying in New York, I remember going to New York, and
really?
you can't drink the tap water. If it rained at one point, and you can't drink the tap water in New York.
No, really?
Yeah. And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Is this when you were traveling around with Doc Brown? And
this was
a magazine sponsored by Evian Water.
Yeah. I stayed in a decent hotel, a decent-ish. It was like 44th and Park, I think.
Right. So was this the manager who was well stocked in water bottles, saying, "Do not drink the water"?
This was the news.
Oh, right.
They said, because they had the weather. And they said, because it rained. Obviously, it's going to rain tonight. So remember, don't drink the tap water. And it's just like
what?
Because everything overflows. Because the sewage overflows into the drinking thing. They don't have proper regulations, or as stringent regulations as we do.
In New York, I thought
they don't have good Victorian plumbing and sewers.
They have very lower safety standards than we do. Yeah.
Do you remember we'll end here, the World War Z book? Was it Max Brooks?
Yeah. Yeah.
In because the zombies keep popping up, like they have the second wave, like the corona. They have the second wave of zombies because one will come out the sea, or one will there's Paris sewer system.
The snow melts.
It's the catacombs under Paris.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, every now and again one will just pop up and start it all over again.
Yeah.
Or somebody will be swimming and they get bitten. What the fuck? There's a zombie under it. Oh god. So there you go. That's another show. Again, if you are with us since last week and you're still here, then you really do need an award because from water to fucking road signs, and you're still here listening. God bless you.
And the amount of pauses. There was one bit where we stopped to talk about your microphone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, quite early on.
Well, later on,
there was a bit where I think one of us was looking up something. I think it was me. I was looking up something, but I wasn't quite sure what I was looking for. So you two are helping me out. It's like, fuck. Somebody's
there, somebody's clipping our toenails, doing your nails. Well, like I said, if you are still here, then I salute you, all you listeners that are still here.
We didn't even get round to Poland's invasion of the Czech Republic.
Oh, right. So, end on this because I'm assuming it's a joke. So I saw I saw something that popped up that said Poland has accidentally invaded where?
Yeah, the Czech Republic.
Yeah,
basically,
I didn't even look at it because I thought this is some weird. He fell over the line.
There's such a lot going on, isn't
basically, there was. I think it was either they were either putting in some new border posts, or it was just a training exercise. But basically, due to a miscommunication, the Poles went over into the Czech Republic. This old chestnut, eh? And
here we go again.
but to the point that they were local Poles were turning up to do things. There was like a church meeting and stuff like that. And they saw all these road closures thinking like, oh, but we can just walk to the church. And they said like, these people in foreign armed uniforms with machine guns are telling us to go away or rounding us up because they think we're the one. Well, they think we're the ones. They think, because obviously in Europe, in the Schengen area, you can just cross over wherever. And they're like, oh, fucking hell, these Czech tourists have come over here and we're trying to do this exercise. And actually, you're the ones that are over there. So it took someone had to call the police and be like, there's like a foreign army.
There's an invasion going on. We're being invaded. Like,
It's happening again.
Who do you call?
Run for the hills.
Who do you call? Do you call the police? I don't know. Like, there's
who
a bunch
polices
of
the
German
army?
paratroopers here. Like, it's like the eagle has landed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, why do...
There you go. And that was it. And in other news, a little
Yeah,
section
and
about
in other
that.
news, there was an invasion, but no one got killed.
I didn't even bother clicking on it because I thought, right,
was quite funny, yeah.
I was thinking somebody fell over and they landed in the train. A plane landed in the wrong bit, and I thought I'm not even going to bother looking at that. It's obviously a bollocks.
Is
I
it
just quite like the funniness.
It's a bit like, it sounds a bit like the Mouse That Roared.
No, what's that?
Not a very good. It's a Peter Sellers film, not a great film, but it's about some tiny principality, and I think they decide to try and invade America, to just so they can surrender and then get lots of reparation, not like get some support from the UN, basically. And they turn up in all their Knights gear, like in Central Park, and try and pick a fight with people. They're like, right, we're to invade. And I think they kidnap a couple of people and try and take them back, and then things spiral out of control.
Oh, there you go. That's a movie review from the fucking 50s.
It was in the 50s as well.
We're moving up through time now. I think normally our movie reviews are from
I've
the
heard
40s.
this new kid, Basil Hasselhoff. He's a new kid on the block. He's up. He's young. Oh, there we go.
I watched Star Crash, and he turned up. Star Crash was just a rip off of Star Wars.
Right.
But it was a gender flip. It was 1979 or something, 78. It's just after Star Wars, and it had a gender flip. So the hero ended up being this kind of lady, and then she went to rescue this trapped member of the royalty, and it turned out to be David Hasselhoff. And then and I was like, okay, fair enough. And Christopher Plummer turned up like halfway through. And like looking so confused and bored and wearing a pair of oven gloves, literally wearing a pair of oven gloves. And it was obviously like they roped him in to do an afternoon's work because they were like, Alec Guinness was in Star Wars and he made tons of money. Yeah. And he's just like, obviously looked at the script and just thought, yeah, this looks like shit. But then I thought Star Wars was shit. So I don't know what's good anymore. Screw it, I'll be in this. And then just terrible. And then David Hasselhoff pulls out a lightsaber at the end, just has a lightsaber fight. Lightsabers hadn't been established, by the way. So it was kind of a bit of a surprise when all of a sudden he starts going. I was like, oh, okay.
I'm sure that's a copyright issue, no?
What about if a laser?
It was so low on film that nobody would notice. There's not that many people going to see this.
Oh no, he was very litigious, George Lucas, right from the off. Things that had the word star.
Oh fuck.
So like Battle Beyond the Stars, he wanted to sue that for copyright infringement. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
He used to be quite good with the brand, didn't he? And then just stopped caring, I suppose.
What's the last film he's made, George Lucas? He sold off the Star Trek, didn't he, or Star Wars?
So he stole off Star Wars. He between that and he probably retains an executive producer credit or something, or thanks to, or whatever. But he did produce a film called Red Tails, which is
How much did he sell? It was to Disney. He sold Star Wars.
I believe $4 billion.
Yeah, it's around that. Yeah.
4 billion. Oh well. Anyway,
he's absolutely laughing. Yeah, because I mean, what else are you going to do with it?
Yeah. I wanted to text you, Theo, about a show I was watching. It's a 3-part show, but it was just so putrid. I'm still going to watch it because it is just watching a freak show it's called Inside Monaco, and it's just about the rich people. It's they were talking about like the yachts that they're hiring and how they said that it's like the yacht owners. They said like we can't say, a lot of the time they were like, we can't tell you whose yacht this is, because it's basically some mafia guy's yacht, or we can't, and they're saying, oh, we hire, these yachts are for hire, but they said it's like trying to cater for children because it's, oh, we want it next week, oh no, actually we want it this week, oh no, we want it in 2 weeks, oh, it needs to be bigger, oh, it needs to have more helipads, oh, it needs to have less helipads, oh, it needs to have, and they're just spunking out this money, And it's
like
just
nothing. Just
yeah. It was, there were hotel rooms, and it's like, oh, this one's 25,000 euros a night, and
just making numbers up. It's all free. Like, just here, I got some more.
Yeah,
some money.
Yeah, and they have these, they're trying to attract this sort of, I guess, to use a very old-fashioned term, but new money. So influencers and YouTube, because Monaco has been a very cloistered kind of society full of old people, and they were saying the problem is this place won't survive if it once
I suppose they're going to
dead.
die off, aren't they?
Yeah. So they said, and it's always been very private. It's always been don't take pictures, don't. That's been the big appeal beyond obviously the tax breaks. But now they're starting to bring in these influencers, and they're all turning up in their horrid, ghastly, customized, supercars. But they're just pulling up at hotels, and the I don't know what the term is. The person who helps. Is it
doorman.
busboy? The doorman. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and they're all like, "Oh, sorry, sir, you need to go round. You've come in the wrong way." Da da da. And they're like, "Oh, I'm not sure what to do. Could you park it for me?"
Oh yeah. Well, I always said that a lot of the biggest road, the most expensive roads in the UK, like where the big houses are. If you drive up and down them for years, there's constant building work going on them. It's a shit road to live on, because like King's Avenue, because every time somebody moves in, they just knock everything down again and build it up exactly how they want it, mock it down. And you go for 10 years, this place has constantly had building work going on, like trucks and lorries going up and down it, because people go, well, I don't like the look of that. Just knock it all down and build it all up again for me, and I'll tell me when it's done. Like, the money's free, so do whatever.
You see a lot of that in Wentworth, every time
I could just see them with the yachts. Can I have that yacht next week? Yeah. Can you paint it a different colour? I don't like that colour. Yeah, £100,000. Yeah. Can we get Can we get it done again? I don't like that shade of black. Can we do it? Just nothing. Just money doesn't mean anything. There you go. So we live in a two-tier system, ladies and gentlemen, just to pull you back onto the Vialucci track. But our day will come. Our day will come. So that's it. So
yes, our day will come. Sorry, Charles, I think we were meant to chip in there. Yes, our day will come. Yes,
certainly, yes.
No, I was looking at you, Andrew. Mr. Voting.
Mr. Voting.
We can vote our way out of it again.
Oh, it was like I was in two places at once for that impression.
It wasn't my best.
I didn't know who I was looking at. What's going on?
Oh no, that was Charles I was doing. So that's it. So there you go. So I think we'll probably have one more Skype call next week, and then we'll be back in the office / studio. But that's that. So so it's been good chatting with you again. So I'll see you next week.
Yo.
Cool. Okay, bye everyone.
Yeah, everyone.
There was no funny thing, nothing funny at the end of that.
No.
You've had your lot. Right, see you later. Cheers. Ta-da.
Goodbye.
Bye.